everybody, now I'm going to ask a quick question here. So if anybody that is muted, please unmute yourself if you can, if you haven't, if you can
Yeah.
contribute to this. Has anybody here, as of yet, to date, used CBD at all?
No,
Yes.
No one yet, huh?
no.
I have. No, I have.
You, Stephanie, you have?
I said yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what was your experience?
I quite frankly didn't. I wasn't a fan.
Okay.
I really wasn't a fan. I wasn't. I don't know. Like I know they have all different edibles and stuff, and
Yeah.
this wasn't. This was someone that my brother uses to help keep his cancer at bay.
Hmm.
So it was legitimate CBD oil that tasted really bad.
Hmm.
It tasted quite bad.
Oh
So
boy.
it just really wasn't. It wasn't for me.
I
So I
see.
ended up giving it to my brother.
Okay. And it was something you took internally,
Yes.
so you had to eat it, I guess.
Yes. You dropped it under your tongue.
Okay,
It was like
sublingually.
yeah.
Okay. And do
So,
you have any idea how much it cost or
oh yeah, it was very expensive. It was
hmm
a very small bottle,
hmm
maybe like the size of nose drops kind of thing. So maybe
Yeah.
that would be 2 ounces.
Yeah.
Maybe let's see, yeah, 2 ounces.
Mhm.
And it was 125.
Yep. Yep. That
Yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was expensive, but and like I said, it didn't I didn't love it. So that's why as soon as I got this email from Faye, I was like very excited about it
Yeah.
because I trust doTERRA.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know what you're getting. And that's part of what we're doing here is that you don't know what you're getting,
Yes.
typically with CBD because
Right.
if there's no regulation, there's no standard, and people don't, or the manufacturers, you know, have not set any standards to help
Yeah.
validate what it is they're selling.
And
Oh,
this didn't even have a label or a manufacturer. It was a clear amber bottle with no label.
oh
So
wow.
I'm not even sure what was in it.
Wow. Wow.
But
Yeah. See, that's
I did
it.
it because I trusted my brother.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
wasn't my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because that is part of the issue with CBD.
Okay.
And it'll come up in our presentation a couple times about there's no regulation, there's no standards, so you don't really know what you're getting, and there are different types of CBD. Some comes from the hemp plant, some comes from cannabis or marijuana with a little THC in there, and depending on what you're using, what you're getting, it's funny because it's actually not legal as far as the federal government's concerned.
Okay.
But because there's so much ambiguity and there's so many states are allowing it because they're relaxing the cannabis laws, which I think is a good thing in general. It's just that there's no real standards and regulation, and you're running the risk if you were to get caught, like some people have gotten caught with certain oils on their person in the wrong place, you could be detained or held, you know, as if you're doing something illegal. So that's really one of the big problems we found.
That was one of the, honestly, that's how I felt. I
Hmm
felt very uncomfortable with it. And it was even sent in the mail
hmm
with like no return label. And I thought,
Oh boy.
there's something feels like kind of illegal about this. So I'm gonna get it out of my house and
Yeah.
be done with it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not
So
into breaking the law by any means.
exactly, that was a little
I'm very
clandestine, as they
straight.
say.
I'm very straight and narrow.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And we're trying to get the laws changed so that we don't have to feel bad about using plants, but
Right.
it's pretty amazing right now the
Yeah.
way you can literally go to jail or
Yeah.
prison
Yeah.
for using
Yeah,
a
no
plant.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question that we have that we'd like to have you guys share is what brought you to this presentation? What would you like to? What information would you like to get out of this, or what made you interested?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me start by apologizing for my ignorance and the fact that I don't know what CBD does for you. So you are going to teach me.
Great,
everything I don't
Good.
know.
great.
So when you're talking about this and how you might get in trouble and all this, and she took it and it's so expensive, I'm like, and I don't even know what it does for you.
Good,
Okay,
good,
good.
good. We're gonna cover that.
We will
Thank
talk
you.
about that for sure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We just thought everybody knew what CBD was, but thank you.
I have no clue. Just the
Okay, good,
initials
Yeah,
good,
alone
good.
don't really mean anything to me, so let alone what it does.
Yeah, good,
yeah.
good.
And Stephanie, you obviously know what it is and you've
Yes, yes.
experienced. Was there something in particular that
Yes,
you?
pain. My knee, I have really bad knees. I have zero cartilage,
Oh boy.
bone on bone, bone spurs in my left knee. No, my ACL is ripped in my right, and my inner MCL is ripped on my left knee. So 24/7, my knees hurt. They legitimately keep me awake at night. They wake me up. They hurt. And so my brother had said that this had really helped, that this was supposed to be really good for pain. So that's when I saw this alternative, that's what piqued my first interest, is anything that can possibly help my knee pain would be so welcomed.
Great. And now you have doTERRA and Deep Blue and all of our other products. So
Yes.
so that's helping you a lot, right?
Now
Right.
I don't take the deep blue internally though. Should I be?
You should
You
definitely
know,
get the
Okay.
well,
polyphenol complex.
yeah,
I can recommend it because I use it, okay?
but Stephanie, what I would like to offer
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
is a one-on-one.
Oh, perfect.
And
I would love that, Faye.
yes,
I
yes.
would love it. Okay, great.
And let's go into uh, maybe some protocols, some things to add to what
Okay.
you're doing,
Right,
okay?
right. Because you do have a
Yeah.
special situation. It's not necessarily inflammation per se, and that's what the Deep Blue polyphenol complex is all about. When you're dealing with cartilage and bone on bone, that's a whole other ball game.
Okay, Faye, I will definitely take you up on that.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the
You're welcome.
offer. I'm all in.
All right. Good,
Good.
good, good.
Good.
Well,
Susan, I don't know if you're
unmuted.
unmuted, if
Can
you're
you hear me?
at a
Yes,
place.
yes, we hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you
Um,
want to hear about, or what you're interested
I
in?
kind of really know how to use it. I used to use it on my mom's legs. She had like her legs hurt her all the time, and I used to just put some in the lotion, and I don't know if it really helped her or not. She said it did, but I don't really just know how to use it, but it would be for pain, yeah, for me.
Pain?
Okay. And we're not gonna talk too much about any CBD per se, how where to get it or how to use it. We're going to talk about what people claim it does, but of course we are all about our alternatives, cannabinoid alternatives to CBD that are legal and that are tested and are self-regulated by doTERRA.
Yes.
Well, when I said I used it, I was totally talking about copaiba or
Okay,
copaiba.
great. Okay,
I've
great.
never used the other form of it.
CBD.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay, great,
Okay.
great. Okay, good.
Cool. Yeah, and so one of the reasons we wanted to do it is because there is a lot of advertising for CBD. You see CBD in all kinds of products. I walk into Sprouts health food store, and in the nutrition aisle, there's CBD hand lotion and CBD lip gloss. And I mean, it's just in everything now. And, we wanted to help people understand what it is, but also as well challenges having surrounding CBD and some of the issues with it, because how can we put it? It might not be what people think they're getting.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. And so
Yeah.
why don't we start?
Yeah.
So thank you all for sharing. And we're gonna do a screen share. And which one should I choose?
Choose that one. Now we're going to go to the presentation, the second one.
This one?
Mhm. And then let's expand that.
Mm.
Yeah. Now we can make this smaller or do something with that because it's going to be a little, yeah, a little bit smaller if you can. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, how's that, everybody? Can you see the title?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The truth about CBD.
Absolutely.
CBD.
Okay. Now, first of all, the first thing I want to just say here is, I'm not a clinical expert on this. Faye and I are not clinical experts on CBD by any means. So don't expect everything to be so scientific. It's not. However, we feel like it's something, and also some CBD may work for some people. As a matter of fact, we talked to a lady today. We talked to a lady earlier this week who was using CBD for something, and she claimed it worked for her. It helped her, and so that's great. There are people that they swear by the effectiveness of CBD, but we're going to talk about what we know as to be the truth. Yes. So when we talk about CBD or cannabidiol, we're talking about a product or what's called a phytocannabinoid that works in the cannabinoid or endocannabinoid system, which is part of our immune system or
So,
works as part of our immune system.
right. So it's an exocannabinoid,
Right.
meaning coming from the outside.
Right.
And a cannabinoid or a cannabidiol, depending on how people pronounce it, is a chemical molecule. It is a chemical molecule, and it can be synthesized, and it is also naturally found in hemp, and also in marijuana or cannabis.
Right. And there are hundreds of other plants that have what would be cannabinoids in them that interact with our own endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
And we have receptors on our cell sites. We only know about a couple. Right now we know about CB1 and CB2. These are little receptors on the end of our cells that are able to attach to these molecules that they just mentioned.
Well, it's actually the other way around. The molecules
Attached
attached to those
these. Right.
because these are stationary receptor sites.
Right.
And the CB1 is predominantly in the nervous system, central nervous system, so brain and spinal cord. However, they are found in other parts of the body too. And the CBD receptor sites, CB2 receptor sites, are found primarily in the peripheral areas of the body, but they are also in the brain and in the spinal cord, the central nervous system. Anything that interacts with the endocannabinoid system in the body is called a cannabinoid. That's where it gets its name. That is not the actual type of molecule it is, okay? But anything that interacts with this is called a cannabinoid. And there are many, many different plant substances that do.
So what is CBD? So we just kind of talked about it a little bit. It's a naturally occurring compound. And in this instance, the cannabidiol resides in the flower of cannabis, okay, or hemp. And it's closely related to another important medicinally active phytocannabinoid, tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is THC, which is the active psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. And what they've found so far is that sometimes CBD doesn't seem to be as effective on its own, but other times it seems to be more effective when it's mixed with a little bit of THC. So this combination seems to be the most effective, the most noticeable, and what they're trying to do is balance, people that don't want to have the psychoactive effect keep the psychoactive effect down to a minimum. Now, the government recognizes this and currently is requiring that there not be more than 0.3% THC in any CBD medically products or products that are considered medical at this point. But that's where we're at. Anything that has more than 0.3%, according to the federal government, is still part of the Schedule 1 on drug classification.
Right. Now, yeah, we're going to talk about CBD not interacting directly.
Yes.
Is there?
Yes,
okay. Just want to make sure.
That's going to come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is a little bit of history. It was discovered in 1940 and is one of 113 identified cannabinoids in cannabis plants and accounts for up to 40% of the plant's extract. In 2018, clinical research showed that cannabinoid included preliminary studies of anxiety that it affected.
These were the research
the results
studies.
affected anxiety, cognition, movement disorders, and pain. So I think that speaks to what you were asking about, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And it can be taken into the body multiple ways. As a vapor, some people want to smoke it. Also, as an oil mixed with a carrier oil, and we already discussed some of this stuff.
Yeah, and again, let me point out, there's a little misnomer. CBD oil, CBD is not an oil. It's not an essential oil. The oil part that you always see in the label is because it's the cannabidiol from the cannabis is mixed with a carrier oil, whether it's olive oil or coconut oil. So it itself is not an essential oil.
Right.
Okay.
So recent studies have shown that CBD can reduce psychotic episodes in people with schizophrenia, but the daily dose was 1,000 milligrams of pure CBD.
And
1,000 milligrams can cost as much as $700
or more. And to get pure CBD is very challenging just on the regular open market.
Right. So sometimes people are not getting enough to really get an effect because they're not going to pay that kind of money. Now, it seems as though, Stephanie, that you were very, very close to having a pure product because it was very expensive for a very little amount.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it because of the price relationship, but there's a lot of stuff out there. You can get a big bottle these days for $50, and we don't know what's in it.
Well, and not only that, studies have been done that show, and price is not always a determinant of the amount of active components in there, because studies have shown that some samples had like 0 CBD in it or very small amounts, all the way up to others having like too much in it. And this inconsistency is one, you're paying for something that isn't what you think, and then this inconsistency in dosage can affect you negatively.
Right.
And so this is part of the really big problem, is there isn't consistency.
Right. And most doctors will be honest with you and say they have no idea how to prescribe this. So you're looking for somebody that maybe has spent a lot of time, giving the product to various patients and trying to figure out, what amount works for certain things. But there is no real set protocols. If you're dealing with psychological issues, it could be one dosage. If you're dealing with pain issues, it could be a different dosage. If you're dealing with intestinal issues, it could be a completely different dosage. And depending on the person, could determine, again, how much you need to take. So the problem is how much to take. Okay, we just lost our presentation by accident.
It's
Does
still
anybody?
showing.
You're still
Okay,
there,
still showing.
and
Okay,
I can
Yeah.
hear
not
you.
showing for us. Okay, let's
Uh-huh.
put Zoom back on. Go down to here and put Zoom back on.
From
This is good. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. We gotta
okay,
adjust here.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still here. It's just that,
Okay. Well, from what I'm hearing, from what you're explaining, and from what I'm reading here, this is very dangerous to take.
yeah, but when
You
your
know,
health. We're
and
talking
even
about
if
your
it
health
was,
here, right?
yeah, and even if it was $10 for a big bottle, I wouldn't buy this because I'm like, no, mm-mm,
Yeah,
mm-mm, I'll deal with the pain.
yeah, yeah,
But because no, no, it's just, it's, no,
Yes.
sorry, it's just a no for me.
So,
yeah.
so do keep in mind, clinical research is showing that there are applications for CBD, but at a high dosage and, pure high quality. So when we
Yeah.
translate that though into what's on the street, what's
Hmm.
available for people, that's where a lot of the problem comes in because
Yeah.
there is no regulation and there's
Right.
no standard. And
Hmm.
that is, we're with you, Virginia. That's why we said there's probably something better until we know more. We know
Yeah.
more about dosing and have reliable sources. And the good
Yeah.
thing is, we don't have to rely on CBD to get the effect that we're looking for:
Right.
relief from pain, relief from anxiety,
Yeah.
support for liver, all kinds of things like that, because there are other cannabinoids. And
Okay.
so Joel was just talking about the cannabidiol, CBD.
We mentioned the cannabinol,
Oh,
which is
buenas
your
tardes.
THC. That interacts with your CB1 and CB2 receptors. It stimulates psychoactive effects. And then we have a molecule called beta caryophyllene, which does not interact with CB1 receptors, which is typically associated with the psychoactive THC, but it has the same benefits as other cannabinoids, and it interacts directly with those CB2 receptors, which are found all over the body, and there are therapeutic amounts present.
Now, let me just emphasize again, with CBD, not only are active ingredients low in a lot of products, but the other thing with CBD is that it does not interact directly with the CB2 receptor sites
Or CB1.
or CB1. So what does this mean? It means that the CBD needs to go through, it's a cascade effect. The CBD interacts with something else and creates this kind of domino effect within the body until the CB2 receptor site is activated.
Mm.
So, depending on factors within the body, this indirect pathway may or may not happen with CBD. And this is also why it's difficult to know dosing and why there's such a wide reaction within individuals, because the individual's health status, physiology can interfere with or influence this cascade effect that the CBD has to go through. Where with beta caryophyllene, it has a direct interaction with the endocannabinoid system in the body, which means we have much better control. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great.
No, use
What?
this.
Okay.
So, some of the things that CBD oil has been associated with having effect on is post-traumatic stress, anxiety, neuropathic pain, seizures, and syndromes, or seizure syndromes. So it's going to be great as science starts to catch more up with how to use it better and how to predict the effect that it might have, because it does have properties and abilities to affect certain areas and certain parts of the body.
Mm.
But CBD oil is everywhere. We talked about that. And we're also discussing, according to Time Magazine in 2019, is it really safe and healthy?
And this was an article that was published in Time, but it was written by researchers.
As we all know, CBD is available in shops and online. And again, we talked about it's not regulated. They brought this out in the article many years ago, a couple of years ago, excuse me.
And what they found was a lot of what was on the market could be called snake oil because the amount of CBD in there was so low or even absent.
Wow.
And like I mentioned, walk into any health food store and you'll just see it in all kinds of products. And is this really the way to dispense something like this?
Yeah,
And
it's kind
even
of
offering it to kids,
yeah.
right?
It's unfortunate that it's turned into a fad because of the fad of cannabis or marijuana, and unfortunately, people are just trying to capitalize off of the craze.
And so, as one of the reasons that doTERRA does not offer CBD is because it can't meet our certified pure therapeutic or tested grade standards.
And we just kind of alluded to that. The analytical changes. How do you analyze something that's causing a cascade effect in your nervous system and going and changing the receptors or the amount of chemicals that are being released from one cells to another? It's hard to analyze that.
Right. And also how it actually interacts in the body is a whole nother level of challenge.
And then we talked about the regulatory problems.
And
until the government gets it together and understands how to regulate it, again, we're just left with a bunch of products we don't know what they are.
Right. So the health challenges that people are trying to solve still exist. But we've now kind of looked at maybe CBD is not the best choice. So what is available? And that's where copaiba or copaiba comes in. It is a cannabinoid. It is actually the type of molecule. There are multiple types of sesquiterpene molecules, and this has a whole host of effects within the body. Copaiba has about 60% of the components in copaiba are cannabinoids. That beta-caryophyllene, okay, which is huge. The highest amount within CBD, if it's really pure, is about 35%.
That's if it's really pure.
That's right. So with copaiba and with doTERRA standards, that cannabinoid content is 60%, and that other 40% within copaiba are active ingredients and have a synergistic effect. And you see dosing here. One, we actually can test for dosing because it interacts directly in the body. And you see how we need much smaller amounts of copaiba than CBD. At a 5 milligram level, it helped to relieve debilitating discomfort. Now, 1 drop of copaiba you see on the bottom here is equal to about 45 milligrams.
Wow.
So less than a drop. At 25 milligrams, it diminished bowel irritation, digestive tract issues. 50 milligrams reduced symptoms of depression, 100 milligrams modulated seizure response, and 200 milligrams normalized glycoproteins in diabetes. So smaller amounts and costs less. A
Yeah, what's that bottle? Yeah.
15 milliliter bottle of Copaiba costs about $35.
And that's about 250 drops or something,
Almost,
right?
yeah, between
Wow.
250 and 300 drops,
Right.
right? So it's more cost effective. We know that it is standardized. So that means for purity, for content, which affects how it works in the body, and consistency.
So just to compare, we talked about CBD oils, the isolated molecule. It has indirect receptor activation, right? The cascade effect, so it's hard to measure that. It's inconsistent dosage, we don't know. And there's limited science, although a lot of science is being done on it, as we speak and ongoing. And there's a regulatory challenge, of course, with it being kind of classified as a drug. Whereas Copaiba has a complete plant chemistry, direct receptor activation, and it's reasonable dosing, more than 1,000 published studies. So it's definitely been studied for many, many years and proven to be effective. So beta-caryophyllene, which is the active ingredient in Copaiba, has strong protection against oxidative stress.
So what that means is it is combating free radicals. And we know that it's that oxidative stress or free radicals that damage cell membranes, damage our genetic material, makes us look older, damages skin, right? So it has this protection against those free radicals. Here's some ways that you can use Copaiba. For just daily cell support and body support for wellness, use 2 drops in a capsule, and it can be taken every morning and every night. A great combination is frankincense and Copaiba. A couple of drops, morning and night. And that will give you, we'll show you another slide, all the protection in many different body systems.
Yeah, this is just a little sample. But what's so great about it, it's what's known as an adaptogen. So it literally makes any other oil or supplement that you're taking more effective because of that.
And you can either put it in a capsule or you can just put it under your tongue, sublingual. That will get into the system fast. You can use for digestive support, 1 drop Copaiba, 2 drops peppermint, and meal times. Or you could use, you could also use Digest Zen instead of peppermint. To help support liver function, 1 drop frankincense, 1 drop lemongrass, and 1 drop Copaiba. Put that in a capsule and take it daily. Yep. So, and that's huge because a problem that has become very prevalent in society is non-alcoholic, non-alcoholic fatty liver. And this will help support the liver.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see on the doTERRA website, I never say it right, Capueva. It comes in the soft gels as well.
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
Oh, you're going to talk about it. Then I'm going to hush. I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, good.
I love your,
Yes.
you're looking. Brain support and neuroprotective support for brain and central nervous system. Your neurons, we know turmeric actually helps increase the production of new neuron cells, brain cells, and along the spine. Okay. And copaiba is protective for the brain. So this is a great combination for brain support. 2 drops copaiba, 2 drops turmeric, taken in a capsule morning and night. Like I said, you could add some frankincense to this. Everything goes better with frankincense, right? And you have a wonderful brain support, protection against oxidative stress, and also just helps with overall cell support. Acne, right? Who would have thought? But combine the copaiba with melaleuca and just dab it in the areas of concern. Some ways to use aromatically for respiratory support. You could combine copaiba with citrus to elevate mood. You could combine it with Siberian fir or a floral oil, or even combo, but there's magnolia, citrus bloom, ylang-ylang, jasmine for relaxation. And you can use it daily over the spine for neurological support. So mix it with some coconut oil and apply along the spine if you want. What I also like to combine it with aromatically is adaptive.
Oh,
yeah.
I love me some adaptive.
Yeah.
So aromatically, we have the adaptive oil. Combine that with the copaiba oil, and you have this wonderful combination for supporting brain, mood, neuro response, stress response. Helps with calming anxiety, right? You can also use copaiba with serenity at night for helping with sleep and relaxation.
It would probably work good with Anchor then too, right?
Uh-huh.
I love that. I love Anchor so much.
Yes. Yes. So
it makes me feel grounded. It makes me feel anchored.
Exactly.
There you go.
Kind of that calming, relaxed
Yes.
feeling, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so now your brain's working. You're starting to think, what can I combine it with to enhance the effect? And that's really what it is. Like on its own, copaiba is wonderful for calming and anxiety, depression. But when we combine it with some of the other tools that we have, it makes it even more powerful. It's that synergistic effect.
Yeah, it just made me think, Stephanie, I don't know if you've tried using any of the furs.
I have not.
Well, try using the furs with your deep blue stick. Almost any of them, because they have a very analgesic, is that what it's called? Analgesic and pain reduction ability, and so that's just going to supercharge your stick.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, and here's
my favorite.
And it is now actually classified, but with the FDA as a pain relief. We can actually say that it's for pain, and great for backaches, arthritis, sprains, strains, bruises, anywhere, neck and shoulder tension. Like Stephanie, you like to use it on your knees. Joel likes to use it on his back. I use it on my hip. It's great. And don't be afraid, like I said in the beginning, to layer other oils with it, like past tense or aroma touch on top of it, or even wintergreen to get even more
intense.
Yeah, kind of that relief from the pain, right?
So you put the oil first and then the deep blue stick? Or the other way around?
Yeah, I do the other way
around, yeah.
Yeah, put the stick first.
Okay.
Yes, because some of the oils in past tense can be more irritating for people with sensitive skin.
But also, you don't want to get those oils on your stick either.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
And
Thank you.
if you don't have the stick, you can combine the copaiba and some of the other oils that we were talking about with the deep blue
Mm-hmm.
rub, right?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just the stick's so convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the other thing that I want to remind everybody, when we're talking about using essential oils, they are cleared from the body, usually in about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so this is why we say a small amount, right? We said a dosage for copaiba is, anywhere from 1 to 3 drops. The soft gels have 2 to 3 drops in it, and then use it more frequently. Like if you have, say, chronic pain that comes back in about 4 hours, well, then just reapply in about 3.5 hours if you want to stay pain-free.
That's why I have them in every room, Virginia.
Thank you.
No matter where I am, I can stop and roll.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's that consistency over time, plus that frequency throughout the day.
Yeah.
3 to 4 times a day if you need to.
Yep.
And that is just the way essential oils work, as they're processed out of the body, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah,
We
it's a
don't
different-
want them accumulating.
Exactly. It's a different paradigm. We're using natural products that the body assimilates, uses, and then excretes the whatever it's not needed. And that's what we want. We don't want things building up in our system. So we have to use these things more often if we have chronic pain.
Yes. Now, let me give you an example, Stephanie. I was listening to a webinar, and a woman was sharing that she has bone on bone with her knee, and she was supposed to have knee replacement. She started using the essential oils. She used the deep blue, the copaiba, frankincense, aroma touch, and past tense, I think.
Okay.
She combined them. She didn't just do it once a day, didn't do it twice a day, didn't do it 4 times a day. She actually was putting the oils on 7 to 8 times a day.
Okay.
So when she went back to the doctor in about 6 months, because she had to wait for something, but she didn't need that knee replacement anymore.
No way. Really?
Had actually reduced dramatically, and I think, like fluid, like the joint started
the salicylic acid. Yeah. Because I get shots of the salicylic, or I don't know if it's salicylic acid. It's one of them
or something.
That's probably it. Every 6 months, I get 3 shots in each knee of the fluids to try to help give me some moisture.
Some lubricant.
Okay.
Right, lubrication there.
Yes, exactly.
So here was a situation where she was just doing it, almost every 1 to 2
3
hours.
Every 3 hours.
Because of sleep time.
Oh, you got sleep time? Yeah, it was 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, like every 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
So these are some of the things we'll talk about in more detail.
Yes, in our one-on-one. Okay, good.
But so sometimes in more severe situations, you use them even more frequently.
Okay.
It's still small amounts. And here's the soft gel. So what's nice is convenience. I use the oil, copaiba oil, when I'm making up my pain or inflammation balm with turmeric, copaiba, frankincense, lemongrass, ginger, and oregano is my inflammation balm. I use about 2 drops of each in a capsule. So I like having that oil around.
Okay.
But I also, every morning and every night, take a capsule. It's just easier, right, to have those soft gels around. Some people like to do under the tongue, and they find that easy. When I'm taking my other supplements, it's just really easy to remember to take the copaiba when it's in the soft gel. And what's really nice, it's not only helping with that inflammation, but it's supporting cardiovascular health. It's supporting
And
your
lungs,
immune
yeah.
function, and it's
Excuse
supporting
me.
your digestive system, as well as your nervous system. Yes. Another combo that's really good when we're talking about the soft gels is the adaptive capsule. For any of you that deal more with, say, stress and anxiety, is the copaiba and the adaptive soft gels or capsules. It's different. The adaptive capsules is different than the oil. And the reason why I bring this up also, because pain is usually the inflammation going on in the body. And stress causes inflammation. So if we're trying to regulate inflammation
Trying to regulate pain.
and pain, and
Interesting.
therefore pain, we want to regulate stress.
Yes.
And we all live in chronic stress. We can all benefit from using adaptive capsules to help modulate our neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine, to have a healthier response to our daily activities. And I have found that when I handle or take things for my stress, right, just in general, consistently, I find my pain level is much less because it's helping to combat the inflammation.
And Faye, can I ask, when do you take your adaptive? Because I do have the adaptive capsules. Do you take it in the morning, in the evening, and midday, only when you're stressed, or daily?
You know, since I've been dealing with some hip issues, I have started taking it in the morning
Okay.
and at night.
Oh.
And my little threesome of soft gels is the copaiba soft gel, the adaptive capsule, and the Serenity soft gel. Because Serenity is calming as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And just keeps you chill and reduces pain level.
Okay.
Now, what's nice too is the copaiba. If you deal with respiratory or lung issues, allergies, asthma, it will also help in your body's inflammatory response having to do with those issues. So it's just a really good overall support for your body.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And here's a few other oils that also contain the carophyllene, the cannabinoid, black pepper, ylang ylang, melissa, clove, and rosemary. So this is partly why our On Guard blend, the On Guard soft gels, which has not only the On Guard oil in it, but has melissa and rosemary.
And oregano.
And oregano is so powerful. Yeah.
That's my go-to. I sadly got COVID. I've been so careful, and my daughter decided to come over for dinner on the 29th of June. And she came over for dinner. Normal, we played a card game. And then the next day she called me and said, "Oh, I just tested positive for COVID."
Oh, no.
And sadly, I got it too. And the first thing Shelly said is, "Double the amount of your On Guard capsules." And I said, "Okay."
How did it go?
It's been good. I mean, I still have my leftover cough, but all in all, I mean, when I hear the crazy, scary stories, it wasn't like that for me.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I felt horrible. I still don't feel great. I cough a lot. I have like achy body and I sleep a lot, but I have not died or gone to the hospital. So I consider that a win.
Exactly. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can talk a little bit about that too, if you want. Okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so as you can see, there are other oils that will complement the copaiba, and and also great to add to protocols depending on what you're dealing with.
All right, that's it for the presentation, y'all.